Oscar's comeback? What's your take on Oscar's comeback?
I have no comment.
Why no comment? He's not.
I have no. I have no comment.
I mean, you started him. Wouldn't you want to finish him as a promoter?
He was finished 10 years ago.
Mm.
He's finished 10 years ago. Manny Pacquiao finished.
Dana White says cocaine is an expensive drug. How do you respond to that?
I don't know. I never used cocaine.
That's a great one.
I really have never used.
Oh man, how was it? If you don't mind, I'm gonna dig a little bit, Bob. How was it being Oscar De La Hoya's promoter, knowing that because I lived in LA, so I got all the news, Bob, that his checkered past, like going down to Mexico and dealing with the girls allegedly. All this stuff is allegedly. And then with the the cocaine binge and the stilettos and the stockings. How challenging was it on your side?
All that going to Mexico and the girls and so forth, that was under my watch, and that was just guy being a guy. I mean, there was nothing wrong. He was a good-looking guy, and he chased after girls. He never harassed girls. He may have impregnated a number of them, which he shouldn't have. But again, there was nothing criminal about it, or nothing embarrassing about it. Afterwards, a lot of the stuff that happened, including the alleged cocaine use and the cross-dressing and that sort of stuff, I wasn't involved with it.
What was your reaction when you saw the cross-dressing?
It is what it is. I don't pass judgment on people that have different kind of fetishes. I mean, who am I? Who am I to pass judgment? Was he breaking any law? No. I mean, so again, it was what it was.
And DB, you got a question before I go?
Yeah, this is called Last Convo. When was your last conversation with Al Heyman, and what fight were you trying to set up?
A couple of months ago, we talked, and we didn't talk about doing any fight because it doesn't work that way. In other words, when we want to use PBC fighter, we talk to Tom Brown, who talks to Al, and either clears it or doesn't clear it. So, and if Al wants to use one of our fighters, he has Tom Brown talk to Carl Moretti or one of the matchmakers, and that's how it works.
So, just because I'm unfamiliar with the name, what does Tom Brown do? Like, what's his title?
He's a promoter. He was the brother-in-law of the late Dan Goosen, and he has a company that Al uses pretty much for most of his promotion. He's a really good guy.
And when they want to use a top-ranked fighter, you said they would reach out to who?
They'd reach out to Moretti, or to the matchmakers.
Got it. And when was the last time you had a conversation with Eddie Hearn, and what fight were you trying to set up?
I talked to Eddie last week, trying to move ahead with the Fury Joshua fight.
And I know it seems publicly you don't have a great relationship with Oscar De La Hoya, but when's the last time you spoke with him?
The last time I talked to Oscar was when he came over to my house in LA, and we had lunch about a month ago, I think.
Oh, all right, good. You guys have mended some things. And when you deal with TMT fighters, do you talk to Floyd Mayweather or Leonard Ellaby, or is there another person that you talk to try to set up a TMT fight?
we talk to Leonard. We have very good relationship with Leonard.
Got it. Okay, go ahead, Fred.
I noticed on your schedule that there's no cross promotions with PBC. Why is that?
I don't know. I mean, maybe we have our obligation to our fighters, and maybe there were other opponents to use rather than a PBC fighter. And I'm not aware that we're not using PBC fighters. I think we pretty much, do. Remember our cards are not only the main events, but they're about 7 or 8 deep as far as events are concerned. So I'm sure there are a number of PBC fighters included.
Andy Ruiz is fighting Chris Arreola on pay-per-view. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's good for Chris. I mean, good for Andy. Andy's a terrific guy, and it should be an entertaining fight.
Are you surprised that his ascension? Well, he's back down to normal now, but do you think Andy Ruiz can regain his title?
No, but he's a very good fighter. But again, I really believe that his beating Joshua was a fluke.
You think so?
Yeah.
And
yep.
Is it? Are you going to Dubai next week? I mean, this week?
No, I have a medical appointment, but Brad Jacobs in my company is leaving tomorrow, Tuesday.
Okay.
To go.
And what's next for Shakur Stevenson before we get you out of here? What's next for Shakur Stevenson? And
June 12th. June 12th is headlining in Madison Square Garden.
Got that.
Against the South African.
Yeah, and I'm assuming he gets by. So is Oscar Valdez? Do you think will be next, or are you in?
It'd be major. He'll either fight Valdez, Jojo Diaz, or if Frampton beats Herring, we're going to do a huge event in Northern Ireland in the fall, where we'll get about 40,000 people for Shakur and Frampton.
You think Frampton would take that fight? Frampton and Shakur? Wow.
Frampton wants that fight. Yeah.
Oh, he does. And Marvin Hagler, man, I know you dealt with him. We were real close to Marvin, and obviously he passed away. Rest in peace.
I promoted all of his every one of his championship fights.
Yeah. And what can you tell us about him? A couple of stories, or
I got to get off on it. I don't want to. I've watched a lot of basketball today. I'm feeling good. I talk about Marvin. At this point, it makes me sad. You got to understand. He was always in such great physical shape, and for him to pass away when he was 23 years my junior really hit me hard.
Totally understand that.
All right, guys. I got to get off. Good talking to you.
Talk to you soon,
I'm
Bob.
happy to come on anytime.
All right.
See you guys.
I appreciate you, Bob. Peace.
Bye.